Israel struck Hezbollah targets in the Syrian capital Damascus early Sunday morning, targeting a Hezbollah weapons warehouse. There are no reports of casualties as of now. Earlier on Saturday, unidentified persons launched a missile attack on a U.S. Army base in the Conical natural gas field in Syria. Ariel Oseran, our I-24 News Middle East correspondent, joins us now. Israel, of course, according to foreign sources, struck again in Syria. No reports of casualties, as we mentioned, but it's interesting to note that, again, it's a Hezbollah depot of ammunition. Do we know what was in there?
So again, everything that we're saying now is based on reports, because obviously Israel does not openly confirm these kinds of strikes. But I will say that the dynamic of this report was a little different, because usually when there are strikes attributed to Israel in Syria, it's the Sana national news agency that reports that it's an Israeli strike and that its air defenses tried to thwart it. But what we hear now, according to Sana, the way they reported it, they didn't accuse Israel until this very moment. They have not done so, saying that there was explosions heard in the area in the vicinity of Damascus, but it was a Russian news agency, Sputnik, that attributed this to Israel. That's the first part. Now, as to the target of the strike, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, it's based in the UK, claiming that the target was, initially they said that it was Iranian-backed militias, that it was their warehouses, missile warehouses, but then they later on clarified that they were talking about Hezbollah, that this was a weapons depot of Hezbollah, housing hundreds of missiles and rockets. While there were no casualties, the warehouse was completely destroyed. And so this comes as just another attack in a string of attacks that is attributed to Israel, targeting Hezbollah infrastructure and targets assets in Syria. But again, the dynamic of this report is interesting, given that the attribution to Israel came from the Russian side as opposed to the Syrian
from
side.
the Russian network. Now, this comes just days after a truck full of ammunition making its way from Iran to Hezbollah turns over in Lebanon, hits one person, then there is a riot, etc. What are the new details that we understand from there? I understand that there was an investigation by the Lebanese army.
Yeah, not quite clear how independent and what the results of that investigation will be, but based on reports here in Israel, the truck that made its way from the border with Syria on the Damascus-Beirut highway and on its way in the Mount Lebanon area, just on the outskirts of Beirut, as you described, it turned over, and what happened we know afterwards. Apparently this truck contained advanced weapon systems manufactured in Iran, and they were on their way to Hezbollah depots in Beirut, believed to have included advanced anti-tank missiles. Add to that recent images that came out from the Bekaa Valley, that's also on the border between Lebanon and Syria, of Hezbollah holding armored vehicles and all this. We are indeed seeing that Hezbollah is amplifying or continuing with its steps to increase its logistic capabilities. Now, a lot of Israel's latest strikes, and this connects to the previous question, why does Israel allegedly attack in Syria? It's to stop these weapon transfers from Iran to Hezbollah via Damascus. Some continue via the land route. This is the target that we saw, or the truck went on that route. That is one type of that, but there are indeed multiple ways and attempts by Hezbollah and its sponsor Iran to continue transfer advanced weapon systems to them. This was the latest example.